This question in regard to fasting the 6 days of Shawwal, should I start with the missing days of Ramadan first, then followed with the 6 days of Shawwal, or can I start with the 6 days of Shawwal, then do the days of Ramadan later on, or can I combine between the two intentions, fasting the 6 days of Shawwal and my intention also to make up the days of Ramadan? First of all, fasting the 6 days of Shawwal are highly recommended by the vast majority of the Muslim scholars. For the hadith that reported by Imam Muslim rahimahullah ta'ala, that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, "Man sama Ramadan wa atba'ahu sittan min Shawwal faka'annama sama ad-dahr." The person who fasts the month of Ramadan, then follow this month with 6 days of Shawwal, as if he or she have fasted ad-dahr. Ad-dahr here could means the whole entire year, and that's what it seems to be. Uh, uh, Imam, some of the ulama al-hadith like al-Manawi said that fasting the 6 days of Shawwal, the reward came specifically for it because after fasting the whole month of Ramadan, people lose the interest in to fast more. So when the 6 days of Shawwal comes, after people have been fasting a whole month, you are doing an ibadah, most of the people will not be interested in doing it because they are kind of tired of fasting a whole month. And that shows your commitment and shows your the change in your life, and that's why the reward is great. It's been also reported that 6 days of Shawwal that follow the month of Ramadan. So fasting the month of Ramadan will be equal to 10 months, and the 6 days will be equal to 60 days, which is 2 months. That's why it's a whole year. يعني العلماء debated over if this is a statement from the Prophet ﷺ or the narrator, and Imam Ahmad rahimahullah and Sufyan ibn Uyayna and great scholars of يعني so many of the scholars of hadith يقولون بوقفه ولا يقولون برفعه. It is a statement from the narrator, not from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And anyhow, you have some ulama like Abu Hanifa rahimahullah and Imam Malik. They did not see fasting the 6 days of Shawwal as something recommended at all. But later on, you will see so many of the fuqaha among the Malikiya and the Ahnaf change the position, and they said it's recommended due to the hadith that I mentioned earlier. And according to Imam Shafi rahimahullah, the person should start fasting it right after Eid in the beginning of the month. While Imam Ahmad rahimahullah and Waki' ibn al-Jarrah and others said you can fast them all over يعني, the month of Shawwal. It doesn't need to be in the beginning, and it doesn't need to be consecutive 6 days. Here the issue of, can I fast the 6 days of Shawwal and at the same time have the intention to fast the making up the days of Ramadan that I missed? This cannot be done because these completely two different acts of worship, and you cannot join these two kind of intention. The only time combining between two intention works if you do an ibadah and you also have the intention of something very general. Like for instance, the Prophet ﷺ said, when you come to the masjid, you pray 2 rak'ah, any 2 rak'ahs. So if you come and you pray the 2 rak'ahs of Sunnat al-Fajr, for example, you have fulfilled the order, and that will be Tahiyat al-Masjid as well, because it's very general. But the days of Shawwal are very specific, and the days of Ramadan that you missed are very specific. That's why you cannot combine between the two intentions. The other issue is, can I do the nafila first, then do the days and make up the days of Ramadan later on? Generally speaking, أكثر الفقهاء, the majority of the فقهاء رحمهم الله تعالى, الأحناف, الشافعية, one narration from الحنابلة and Imam Ahmad رحمه الله, they say it is permissible for you to do the volunteer act before you make up the obligatory, especially if the obligatory واجب موسع. It means there is a space and a plenty of time that you have, because as we all know, making up the days of Ramadan that I missed for a reason, I have until the next year, until the next Ramadan. So this is a plenty of time. So it's not wajib on me to do it in this particular month, which is Shawwal. I can do it in any. So since it is a long time, you can put the nafila before the faridah. It's like Salat al-Fajr. If you come and there is a plenty of time for Fajr time, you pray the Sunnah, then you pray the Fajr. The nafila comes before the faridah. The volunteer comes before the obligation. That's why we will say, in this case, you are allowed to fast the 6 days of Shawwal, even though if you did not finish the month of Ramadan. Some scholars said no. You cannot do that for a simple reason. They said because the Prophet ﷺ said, Man sama Ramadan, those who fasted the month of Ramadan, wa atba'a, followed by 6 of Shawwal. So if you fast Ramadan, but you're missing 3 or 6 or 7 days, whatever number of days you missed during that month, you don't deserve that description, fasted the month of Ramadan. So that's why you have to make up the days first, then you will follow it with 6 days of Shawwal. So you have a 300 days or 6 months, then followed by 2 months. And this argument is a strong argument, and I know a lot of scholars say that. Some of them, my own teachers, used to say that as well. And I never really was convinced personally with this, and I don't agree with that concept. Why? Because even if you miss these days in Ramadan, for a valid reason, you still deserve the title Man Sama Ramadan. Because the Nabi ﷺ said, Man Sama Ramadan, Man Qama Ramadan, Imana wa ihtisaban ghufira lah. Allah forgive his sins. And we know that those many sisters, they don't pray every single night in Ramadan due to their menses. And they don't make up the salah, but they still deserve that description. They prayed the month of Ramadan. They fasted the month of Ramadan. They broke their fast for a valid reason. So to say that they don't deserve that, that's not true. And to say if you add the calculation is not yet a whole month, yes, when inshallah they make up the days, it will be a 300 days or it will be a complete month. So that's why I don't see a harm, inshallah ta'ala, that you do the volunteer fast first, then you make up the days later on. But generally speaking, I highly recommend you to fulfill the obligations before you do the volunteers. Why? Because you don't know when you're going to die. Wallah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَسَارِعُوا إِلَى مَغْفِرَةٍ مِّن رَبِّكُمْ. We should rush to fulfill the obligations before anything else. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept from all of us.